Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.
Yes, guys, and welcome back to the Cannon Podcast. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you are all good. Me and James are fantastic because we have just rewatched the first half of the Olympiacos game, which was really fun. We actually were going to initially do the Newcastle game, but timings just didn't work out. But luckily enough, we had a lot to talk about with the Olympiacos game, and you guys can check that out by becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. There is a link within the description below. You can access the free trial, a 7-day free trial, and you can have a lot of different perks. So we've got the Discord server that is always popping. There's around 500 to 600 people in there. We've got rewatches that me and James are obviously doing, Scouteds, ad-free main pods, George's Tactics Corner as well, which he'll be releasing another one very soon. And there'll soon be data pods as well that I'll be doing with the other George as well once we get a larger sample size. So there's a lot of content, a lot of games as well to get through. So it's a very good time to be a Cannon Podcast member. But firstly, how are you, James? Did you enjoy that?
I'm good, thanks. I'm definitely picking up whatever's going around in London because I'm not feeling great, hence the voice. But yeah, I really enjoyed rewatching that. It 100% changed my perspective. When we rewatched City, I came out of it more doubled down on everything. Yeah. With this, I definitely felt like, okay, James, you're a bit harsh on how the half ended. I thought around 25 minutes in, we'd sort of fallen away. We definitely didn't. If anything, I think we maintained that level of performance throughout the half more than I realised. So yeah.
No, it was like I said, I've rewatched it before we actually did our rewatch, and I felt like, my opinion on my first watch changed as well, where I felt like we played really well, but I felt we had that lull period a little bit earlier than what we actually had. But the first half we were fantastic, and there were a lot of key takeaways. And one of my ones, and it's something that I've been mentioning a lot on the pod, is essentially the midfield three. Now, what we've been seeing this season, I felt like we would see with Zubamendi's inclusion, is a lot more freedom between the trio. So you're going to have the structure, you're going to have the way that we play in terms of where certain players need to be, but who is where is what's becoming really interesting. And I think that is being advocated by Zubamendi because he's good on the right, he's good on the left. And, something with Thomas Partey in his peak, where he was fantastic. Something he didn't give us, I felt, was that ability to move laterally across the pitch from right to left. And Zubamendi is allowing us to do that in a similar way to the PSG midfield from last season. We all saw with Fabian Ruiz, João Neves and Vitinha and the rotations that you had there. And what I call it was the process of like emptying and refilling. So they'd drop deep and they'd leave the space open, but then somebody else would then enter that space and it becomes really difficult to mark. And I feel what that's doing for us and who it's benefiting a lot recently is Martin Ødegaard. And I thought Martin Ødegaard was fantastic in terms of that ability to roam, move to the left, find solutions. And he's picked up from a really good performance against Newcastle as well, that cameo where he came on. And Eddie Howe said, he felt that the game was changing more with Ødegaard being able to fire passes inside the block and penetrate through. And yeah, he was fantastic. So I'd say that the midfield three and how it's rotating and something that is different to last season, which I think is being driven by Zubamendi, is a massive takeaway that I had.
Yeah, a lot there. You opened my eyes massively to this midfield three rotating. I definitely saw the PSG midfield the way you did, which was basically like, dare I say, you guys are going crazy. I think Newcastle have a little bit of this. Is it Bruno in the six? Is it Tonali? Is it Joe Linton? They can pop up in different areas. So I definitely saw that in a few other teams, and I saw Arsenal was much more static in the roles in the midfield. You saying that Zubamendi is what's unlocking it is fascinating because when we rewatched that half, I was absolutely gobsmacked by how often he was popping up in different areas. And I want to stress what I mean by that because I'm probably doing myself a disservice. Like, I've done some analysis on our last few games on the Gooniverse. One of the things I talked about was when chasing a game, Zubamendi's got into the 10, so Rice has sat deeper. And to allow the fullbacks to get forward, Zubamendi's dropped into the back three to be a part of build-up.
Yeah.
But that was a particular game state. That's chasing a goal. I mean, we're watching this at 1-0 up. And he's just still going, I'll go wherever I want. Which makes me think, no, this is something a little bit more fixed in how Arteta wants the midfield to work. It's not just all hands on deck. We need to do something a little bit extravagant here. No, he definitely wants those rotations a little bit more. And by the way, because I'm so bunged up, I'm just going to turn my camera off for a sec, but you keep going. I can still listen to you. So I'll be one.
No, of course, you're good.
But yeah, this is definitely much more intention than it is circumstance, basically.
Absolutely. And I think for me, this is one of the big reasons why a lot of teams did want Zubimendi. We saw the interest that Real Madrid had for him and, like Liverpool as well, that's become very known. I don't know if you saw it, James, but there was a clip going around of Arne Slot. And I think it was with Rio Ferdinand, and he was talking about how he explicitly stated that there's a player out there that we wanted that's very well known in terms of how good he is in terms of connecting from back to front. And it's quite clear that he was referring to Zubimendi. Yeah. I do think that he is the driver here, and it's a lot more intentional. And why I said, I felt like before ball was kicked, it's not going to be Zubimendi adapting to Arsenal from a build-up perspective, from on the ball perspective. It's going to be more the other way around. Yeah. Because this is a guy who's played for Spain, a team that is a positional-based team, at a very high level, under the likes of Rodri as well. He's learning a lot in that environment, and I feel like that learning is benefiting Arsenal as well. And I think it's benefiting every single midfielder out there, whether it's Declan Rice, because we've seen his role change this season, and Ødegaard now as well. So that's my big takeaway.
No, I agree. And I think, in this video, we're going to build on that, because I think the midfield was the most exciting thing about that game. And when I say that, it's not just Zubimendi rotating a lot, Ødegaard playing a lot of through balls. Merino was excellent in some of the through the lines passes he played. There's definitely a degree of he doesn't move quite like Merino and Ødegaard. But he's also not as far away as people would have you think. Yeah. For someone who's 6'2", he's got a decent bit of guard. He just doesn't have the acceleration and the power.
Exactly.
But in tight spaces, just some nice stuff played, some punched, should I say, some lovely balls through the lines. Understood the dynamic with Ødegaard and Zubimendi very well, and that goes back to their Sociedad days. There we go.
You got it.
We got there. So that was definitely encouraging. But then Lewis Skelly coming in, and then you had you had four central midfielders essentially. All, if you ask them all their best position, then they all say an 8. All of them. Yeah. But you've got one at left back, you got one in the 6, you got one in the 10, you got one in the box to box, or 10 if we say. So yeah, that was really encouraging. And also how often they were also comfortable being either the passer or the receiver. That was really encouraging too. And like I said, I do my player ratings on the Gooniverse after the game. For Olympiacos, I slept on it because, again, I was bunged up, not feeling well. I thought I'd do it in the morning. And I came out of it thinking, Zubimendi and Merino were a 6. I say a 5 is fine and a 6 is you were good. So I still stand by that, having watched that first half, that they were good. And I know there's a whole other half that we haven't rewatched, but I didn't realize quite how much good they did on the ball. Zubimendi more so, but Merino definitely. And Ødegaard's unlocking that all, and I guess we're going to talk about Ødegaard now. Because his understanding of where to be manipulates what everyone else is going to be too. And then some of the passes he was playing, some of the areas he was picking up. Ødegaard was sensational. I mean, again, when we're talking ratings, I gave him a 9 out of 10. And I said the only thing that made it a 10 is if he scored that chance that Saka put on a plate for him. But
I think you feel vindicated after watching that back, though, right? It's clear as day that he was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah, sure. And dare I say, I think there are a lot of good performances out there. I say he was comfortably the best player on the pitch.
Yeah,
I thought he was very, very, very good. But can I ask you a question, Rohan? Right?
Yes, go
This
on.
is where I am going to blow my own trumpet a little bit.
You should always blow your own trumpet.
Thank you. Thank you. I should champion myself. But I was surprised that Ødegaard was getting criticism in the United, Forest and Leeds games, particularly those last two. I thought that there were signs of life there, signs of, he's getting there. He's trying things he didn't try last year, and certain things are coming off, and he's not 100, but pre-season was looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And so is it because he played 20 minutes and went off injured that people just kind of went, Ødegaard, still not at it, Eze in the 10? I thought, guys, he's on the up here. I don't know. I felt like people were missing that.
I'm so happy you said that, because the big frustration I've had this season with Ødegaard is the fact that he got injured in both those games when I felt he was starting to really flow.
Yeah, I agree.
And actually, I'll go back towards the end of last season. I'd actually go back to the game against Paris Saint-Germain away from home, where I thought he was really good. Because remember, he then had the game against Liverpool, scored in that game. He scored in the final day against Southampton as well. I feel like Ødegaard has started to flow more from that moment. And pre-season was encouraging. And against United, it's funny because I actually felt Ødegaard was the best out of the entire attacking unit. Better than Martinelli, better than Saka, better than Gyökeres on that day. Now, the bar wasn't very high. I felt that our overall performance level as a team wasn't very good against Man United, personally. But I think Ødegaard has really started to kick in. And it's starting to feel like, again, it is a small sample size when we're talking about this season. It is that feeling that it's the Ødegaard that we know and that we've become accustomed to, as opposed to what we saw predominantly last season. And we said it in the Patreon YouTube video, where Ødegaard could have had an off season. The reasons for his off season could be for a number of different reasons, and I think like he deserves the opportunity and the time to be able to showcase his quality, because he's given us a really big sample size already at Arsenal of how good he is.
Completely.
So yeah, but what are your thoughts though on, because I know you wanted to talk about Gyökeres, and we actually spoke about Gyökeres in the Man City game as well, that rewatch, and a highlight for you. So yeah, give us some of the thoughts that you had from his performance.
All right, people, don't clip me up and make me look like an idiot, but just let me land. Just let the plane land.
Go on, James.
Safely,
you land whatever you want,
and then we can talk about it. I thought it was a Haaland-esque performance in terms of the relentlessness with which he was trying to run in behind. But ultimately, when you are that strong and that quick, you should bully defenders that aren't your size, or maybe aren't used to that physicality. I don't think Haaland is naturally a brilliant hold-up striker. I just think he's got the attributes, so he does it well. He's a very good footballer. He's got the attributes. Therefore, he does it quite well. It's like saying, I don't think Saliba is the most natural header of a ball, but because he's 6'3", and he's stronger than most, he's got a better leap, he kind of is going to win some duels, but we've also seen him struggle in that area at times. So tell me if any of this I'm saying is unfair, or if you disagree, please, because... Yeah,
no,
but
I don't disagree.
But I was watching Gyökeres going, I don't expect you to be Gabriel Jesus, but there were some nice touches and turns. He didn't just, it wasn't like he was just a wall pass. There were times where it came to him, he went, yep, I'll hold you off, I'll take a touch. Oh, there's a defender coming, let me flick it onto my left foot and then pass it again. Like, there was moments of close control, there was moments of, quality in tight areas and understanding of the players around him. But there was still all of that added to running channels on a regular basis. And there were so many examples, from Ødegaard playing in behind, to Trossard playing in behind, to the actual goal where Ødegaard doesn't even play him behind. He just plays it, and he just
plays it in the space and go for it. Yeah.
There was moments where Martinelli, we said if he looks up, he's playing Gyökeres through. So Gyökeres is always a threat to attack the space. And I think it's because Ødegaard maneuvered the opposition so well with that midfield that you were saying it, how difficult it is to press us means that I think a lot of players are constantly being pulled here, there and everywhere. And Gyökeres had the intelligence to go, great, that's where I'm going to get the run. That's where I'm going to find the space. He is, when the Sesko-Gyökeres debate happened, I said, if Arteta adapts to Gyökeres, then he's the one to get. But if he's not going to adapt to Gyökeres and he's just going to make him, he's just going to try and make him do what Havertz does.
Like for like,
Sesko's the better fit.
Yeah.
But for me, that's looking incorrect, because Gyökeres is more than I expected adapting to what Arteta needs him to do. Well, let me rephrase. Gyökeres is adapting to Arteta as much as I ever felt Arteta needed to adapt to Gyökeres. And I like that. I think they're both complementing.
It's a two-way partnership, mate, isn't it? It's a case of Arteta is sitting there with Gyökeres and saying, you need to do these things. And if you can do that, I will give you these tools. And I feel like that the teething issues that were there before, which are natural, they're starting to become a lot smoother now. And I feel with Gyökeres, he's getting better every game. Like the Newcastle game for me, like not every single time was he able to pin the centre back and win the duel. But I love the fact that he's gone to St. James's Park, and every single time he's got an opportunity, he's incessant on it. He's like, I'm going for you. I'm going to put myself about. And I felt he held his own really well in that St. James's Park game. And ironically, the things that kind of let him down were the things that you'd associate Gyökeres being better at. Yeah. And for me, I'd rather that over a small sample size, because if you're improving in the areas that I feel you absolutely do need to improve on, that's great, because I know you've got the goal scoring instincts and you will score goals. And I think the adaptation from Arsenal to Gyökeres is happening with Trossard, and what we're seeing Trossard a lot, and we saw it in the Man City game, saw it in the Newcastle game, and I feel we saw it in spells against Olympiacos, is Trossard's coming inside a lot, and it's what I call abandoning width. So you're not staying touchline, you're coming in field, and that gives Gyökeres the opportunity to hit the channel. Because what you'd usually see is our wingers staying wider to begin with, and as we enter the final third, you may then start to see the rotation, but we wouldn't abandon width when we're building up, on the wings. And I think that's going to be benefiting Gyökeres as well. So I'm liking the fact that we're starting to shift that dial more towards trying to give Gyökeres the best opportunity to succeed as well. And he's growing, mate. He's getting better every game.
I totally agree. And you know what just kind of came into my head as you were saying that was, ultimately, we're talking about Ødegaard passes here, right?
Yeah.
I think of Ødegaard coming on the ball. He played to Lewis Skelly against Newcastle, which earned us a corner, and the cross he puts into the box, and Eze's pass over the top to Martinelli for the equaliser. Yeah. It kind of when we this is our second rewatch, and we did the we did the City one talking a lot about Marino.
Yes,
you can't. There's no substitute for quality and creativity. You have it or you don't. And by that, I mean, the player either has it or they don't have it, or the team has it or they don't have it. And when I look at Eze and Ødegaard, that's it. Like, that's why you have those players. They've shown that a lot in the last 3-4 games. There's kind of no way about it. Like, you can't fake that. And Gyökeres is going to benefit from having more of those players around him. And then you got Trossard, and then you got Waneri. You think, wow, what a plethora of talent. Dauman's creative. Saka is a very creative footballer.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so good to see, because this reminds me of the Hleb, Rosicky, Arshavin, Fabregas.
Wingfielders.
Yeah, wingfielders. I like that. Yeah. But we need more of that. So, for sure, the midfield is ticking. Ødegaard is cooking and getting back to his best. And I think we've been seeing that from long before this Newcastle cameo. And Gyökeres is adapting more and more and getting better and better. But, ultimately, you need the profiles. And people can get obsessive with, profiles this, profiles that. But it is important. It is, you need the players that want to do those things as much as are capable of doing those things.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good way to kind of end it as well. I think we're building momentum, James. I think this is a really good time. And I think there's a lot of different data out there from Opta analysts that looks at Arsenal in terms of expected points. Now, it is a really small sample size. We've only had 6 games in the league. But from an expected points perspective, when we went to, Old Trafford, went to Anfield, went to St. James's Park, we played Man City at the Emirates, we're expected to be first right now, and that for me is promising. We can't take too much of a look on that because, like I said, there is a big caveat with the sample size, but I think there's a lot of promising and growing signs for a team that is still adapting to new players. And, we're putting in performances that I think fans are they're starting to get that real belief and that optimism. I think it's all been driven from that Newcastle game and also the Crystal Palace result of, Liverpool aren't infallible. They have weaknesses there and you can see that as well. So really exciting times for me. But no, it was fantastic doing that rewatch again.
Thank you,
I said, guys, if you guys wanted to access that, you can by becoming a Patreon or YouTube member by clicking the link below. But no, that's all from me. Any closing thoughts, James?
Sorry that I've had to turn my camera off twice because I'm
You're good.
But I'll be in fit fighting form for West Ham or whatever the next one is we do. I believe it will be West Ham. But I think I'll say this. The first thing we wanted was Arteta to have the players. I think he's got those now. And then we needed the ideas. The ideas are there. So I think that we've got the first 2 steps. Now it's just executing it.
It's consistency now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's consistency. It's executing it. But the thing I was most worried about was actually whether we were going to get the players. And then it was, will Arteta move away from ideas we felt he held on to a bit too strongly? And maybe he never did. Maybe it was circumstantial. I don't know. But then when I say ideas, I'm talking out of possession first, rest defense first, clean sheets over goals, that kind of thing. But when you look at the fluidity, you go, come on, that's not a manager who doesn't want to play good football.
Exactly.
And so let's let them cook.
Absolutely, and we shall see. But yeah, no, it was great having James on again. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. If you did, please like, share and subscribe, and we will see you soon. And that's all from me. But last but not least, thanks for keeping it Arsenal.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. This was one kind of queue the ladies thoroughly enjoyed. Electrifying! Electrifying! Inspiration for Arsenal!